we go. Good afternoon. Thank you for attending the first meeting of 2022 of the Tecumseh Police Services Board for the town of Tecumseh. For the minutes, we have present Mayor Gary McNamara, Member Mark Gomes, Member Christopher Hales, and Member Paul Sweet. Regrets this afternoon by Deputy Mayor Joe Bichetti. And attending from staff are Margaret Misek-Evans, that's myself, and Ellen Preichat, the recording secretary. And unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond their control, members of the OPP are not able to attend this afternoon. So we are going to run on an abridged agenda for this afternoon's meeting. And the first order of business will be the election and appointment of officers. And we'll commence with the appointment of the secretary and the recording secretary. The motion at hand is that the appointment of Margaret Misek-Evans as secretary and Ellen Preichat as recording secretary for the Tecumseh Police Services Board be reconfirmed for the period of February 10th, 2022 to the date of the first meeting of the board in 2023. May we have a mover, please?
I would so move.
Member Hales has moved and seconded by Member Gomes. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please. And that is everyone. So none opposed. The second task is the election of the chair. So I'm calling for nominations for the chair of the Tecumseh Police Services Board for the year 2022 and up to the first meeting of the board in 2023. Mayor McNamara, please.
I'd like to nominate Christopher Hales to the position of chair.
And do we have a seconder for that nomination? Member Sweet. Okay, is there any other further nominations for chair? And last call, are there any further nominations for chair? Seeing none, Member Hales, will you be accepting the nomination?
I will.
Okay, very good. So on that basis, we have moved by Mayor McNamara, seconded by Member Gomes, that Christopher Hales, Sweet, Member Sweet, beg pardon, that Member Chris Hales be appointed chair for the year 2022 and up to the first meeting of 2023. And if we put that to a vote, please. All in favor? Very good. Congratulations, Member Chair. You're now Chair Hales, rather. You're now chair for another year, and I turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. I'm glad to be chair, and this is going to be an eventful year. I'm hoping once COVID settles down, we can get with the regulations on with our Ontario government and maybe get this bill in motion. Right now, on item number 3, I would like to call for nominations for vice chair for the Tecumseh Police Services Board for the year 2022. Your worship.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Paul Sweet to the position of vice chair.
I would need a seconder, I think, for that. Mark, thank you. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, I would ask Paul, would you stand as vice chair?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, we'll bring that to a vote then for Paul Sweet for vice chair. All those in favor? Passed. So we can note for the meeting that Paul Sweet be appointed for vice chair to the Police Services Board for the town of Tecumseh for the period of February the 10th, 2022 to the date of the first meeting of the board in 2023. Now we'll move on with the meeting. Declaration of pecuniary interest for the agenda. Actually, it will be a kind of an amended agenda as delivered to you. And is there any declaration? Seeing none, we'll move on then. Approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion that the agenda for the Police Service Board dated Thursday, February 10th, 2022, as duplicated and delivered to the members thereof be accepted. And I'm looking for Margaret. Yes, I think I doubled that, didn't I?
Thank you. Chair Hales, just for clarity, if we could have the agenda amended to remove or defer, I guess, items G, H, and L to the next meeting, given that we have no OPP members present.
Yeah, okay, Margaret, that's fine. I was going to ask for deferral at each one of those, but if we can cover it all at once, that's wonderful. So our agenda needs to be amended for those deferrals, based on the lack of people being here. So, all right, so as the agenda as amended, we would need someone to, Mayor McNamara, seconded by Paul Sweet. Thank you, Paul. And so all in favor? Thank you. Covered. Okay, we'll move on. Approval of the previous minutes. I've gone through them and I'm looking for a motion that the regular minutes of December 17th, 2022 for the Police Service Board meeting as duplicated and delivered to the members thereof be adopted. And I'm looking for, Mark is moving it, Paul seconded it. All in favor? Thank you. Passed. Okay. Delegations, that's being deferred, as well as our OPP monthly report. I will report to the membership that I've spoken the last 2 days twice to our detachment commander. He asks us the indulgence and he assures us that they would rather be here than what they're being tasked to do. So we just keep in mind that there's a significant number of our detachment members that are being put in harm's way. Okay. We move on to reports. We have the traffic analysis report and looking for a motion that the report of traffic analysis radar speed surveys be received. And I'm looking for Paul, thank you. Seconded by Mayor McNamara. All in favor? Is there anybody who wanted to comment on that? I actually read it. It's a statistical analysis, and it points out a few areas, but I think basically, I think this is information that we have discussed over the past several months anyway. So I think now we have it officially for the record. Communications action required that the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards dated February the 1st, and it's regarding the spring conference. Okay. I think everybody got that. We now know that it will be held virtually, so that accrues quite nicely to our budget. So that's very good. So I would look for a motion that the participation by the board members and administrative staff members in the 2022 Ontario Association of Police Service Boards virtual spring conference and annual general meeting in accordance with the Town of Tecumseh Professional Development Policy and the 2022 budget be approved, and that the sponsorship of the 2022 OAPSB Spring Conference and Annual General Meeting in the amount of $300 be approved. That's all budgeted. So basically, we just need to enact that. So I'm looking for a mover. Thank you, Mark. Seconded by Paul. All in favor? And thank you. That's, that'll be very interesting now to see. We went through that last year, and it makes for a very abbreviated conference, as we all remember. Communications for item K in our agenda. Communications for information purposes. The Ministry of the Solicitor General, all chiefs, a memo regarding amendments to the Police Record Checks Reform Act. I read it. It doesn't change much. That act came in quite some time ago. Paul, you were probably a chief when that act came in, eh? And that was kind of pushed through because of Toronto. I think there was a very large citizens lobby lobbied the government directly for that. So, and I found nothing very earth-shattering or new in that. It's an affirmation of the fact that it's enacted, and the chiefs still have an issue with it, and they just feel it's a policing tool that has been denied them. Paul, I don't know if you had any comment on that or not. I think it's with the company.
No, the primary change, as you pointed out, Mr. Chair, I guess through you, is that is the cost for the volunteerism portion of it. So
Yeah.
which I don't think that this changes too much, because a lot of places it was waived anyway. So
Yes.
they didn't get into the big one, like the third party one. So on that one, so it's somewhat minor in what it encompasses. Thank you.
Okay, fine. And then we have two more, one from the Ministry of Solicitor General. It's a memo with regard to service by service statistics. And then the final one was from the Solicitor General, and it's a review of the court security and prisoner transportation payment program. Your worship, I know that was a bee in your blanket for a while, but I think there's not much we can say. That's just for information purposes only, you know. So I'm looking at the correspondence detailed in items 1 through 3 be received. I'm looking for a mover. Thank you, Paul. Seconded by Your Worship Mayor McNamara. All in favor? Thank you very much. Item L, old business has been deferred, and that's a shame because there are some interesting things on our new business. Status of our provincial appointments. Mark and Paul, both your appointments are coming quickly to an end. I think we all agree that I see no sense in the Solicitor General going out and recasting that net out, with the fact that we may be changing the status of all police service boards under the new act, etc. So, Margaret, did you receive anything? I know that Ellen reached out to see if she could find anything out. She reported to me that there was nothing from our Zone 6 advisor. I wonder if you've heard anything.
Actually, I believe Ellen has asked Vice Chair Sweet to look into it, and perhaps he's got a verbal report that he could provide, Mr. Chair.
Excellent, please.
Yes, I was our zone advisor. The last I spoke with him, contacted him. He advised that we should be hearing something. I think it was within like a week at the time, which is we're either just slightly past that now. So I think it's kind of tied into with the changes to the act. I mean, from what I got the impression from him that that could be put on the back burner. So not unsurprising. So which basically the status quo could be the same for quite some period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, a simple question. Did he happen to mention whether we would be hearing from the Appointments Secretariat or from the Solicitor General?
I think he didn't say specifically whether it be from the Public Appointments Unit or from the directive right from the minister. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I mean, he indicated that, you know, we would be hearing something in writing. I mean, and both myself, Mark, and the board within the very near future. But as I say, I think that I got to say, the impression I got that things have been put on the back burner as far as the changes to the act. So
I only ask because Mayor McNamara and myself have run afoul of these kind of extensions when they're guaranteed from the Solicitor General.
Right.
Because the Solicitor General can think it's a great idea, but for some reason, you can all of a sudden get something from the Secretariat, and then we'll get a visit from our Zone 6 rep. So I'm hoping that it does come officially, because it would be, to my mind, and I'm sure everybody else's mind, foolish to start this process for something that could last 6 months to 8 months. So,
yeah.
Okay.
My understanding that it may have been before cabinet a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah,
surprised we hadn't heard something.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I think the government's in chaos right now with what's going on all around this province. So I'm sure there's hyper focus on that issue.
Yeah, and I think there's changes too with the changes that happened all of a sudden at that police inspectorate thing. Like there was there's a resignation, a sudden resignation there. So I think there's some, you know, a lot of things happening.
I
Well-
think there is some real unhappiness with regard to what the powers of the SIU are going to be, and what all the civilian police. What is it? That's called. It's not called the arbitration board, but you know what I mean. It's
cops.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I think all that's in real flux on the government side, but as we know, we still have a mandate. We have a contract with the OPP, and we have to administer it, and that's what our marching orders are for. So,
Yeah, it's, the appointments, this has been an ongoing issue for us for years. And, I mean, when you look at it, 40% of your board, I mean, that's, it's important for them to follow up. So, just 3 weeks ago, I did receive the personal phone to the Solicitor General, but I'd rather not bother her right now because of the border issue. But certainly, again, the Secretariat, not only on Police Services Board, but even other boards that I'm involved
everything.
with. They're right now. I know that we haven't had full complement on provincial appointees on our public health for the last 2.5 years. And so it's, it's crazy. Not that we couldn't fill them, we can, but it has to, order in council and
paperwork.
But anyway, anything that we can do to both have Mark and Paul, even a letter from yourself and certainly the town, to try to expedite their, I think maybe that was already done through Ellen, I'm not sure, but if not, we should at least send some, a letter to the Secretariat.
And the reason I think we're antsy when you've been at this as long as we have is that there are times when the police service boards across the province of Ontario are down 150 to 160 appointments, all in waiting for someone on somebody's desk for a signature. So, this, and at the same time, we are under an obligation to provide governance for these OPP contracts, and certainly private Section 31 contracts too. So how do you do that? Like his worship says, when you're down 40% of your capacity on your boards, it's not good. Anyway, thank you. Paul, thank you very much for your work on that. Appreciate that. Item M, number 2, is the annual performance review for our OPP detachment inspector. As in years, well, first of all, let's say that hopefully, again, this will be the last year we use the pro forma review that we have, and that we will come to what is mandated in the new Police Service Act with regard to measurables and accountability, etc., for a business plan that we help build. It doesn't come down from Marilia, it comes from us up. So hopefully this will be the last year. Now, having said that, we have that form. As in years gone by, if no one objects, Ellen will send out a blank copy to everyone for consideration and filling out, and you can send it to me. I will collate all your thoughts on each one of the questions for our detachment commander, and then put that into what I would presume would be a comprehensive assessment, and forward that to Margaret and Ellen for both for continuity and for wordsmithing, etc. And then I would invite members of our board to go with Mayor McNamara and myself to discuss the performance with our detachment commander. By then, he should be out of the snowdrifts and be able to be on firm ground, because right now I know you couldn't find him if you tried. He's so busy. So what I'm getting at, slow but sure, is that agreeable process for all of you to receive, fill, and I'll collate. I'm going to assume that Deputy Mayor Becchetti would agree too, because he has gone through that process many, many, many times. All right. So that's what I'll do. Ellen, I know you're listening in. Thank you. If you would send a blank form for the actions in 2021. And I will follow it up with an email to all members setting a deadline. Otherwise, it will be an infinite do loop. So we'll set a deadline for comments to me, and then I'll set a deadline for myself to collate and send it forward to Margaret and to Ellen to have a quick review and make sure that we're on the straight and narrow. And then we'll send that copy to all our members so they'll know what exactly we're going to discuss with our detachment command. All right. Is there any other new business under item M3? Yes, Paul, please.
Just a quick question, and I guess it's under the old business number 2, is the CAO providing an automatic speed system update today, or has that been deferred to the next meeting?
That's been deferred.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, and I think if we know all the stuff, all the where the money's coming from, et cetera, there's a lot of reports and things we have to hear from the OPP first.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. So I have no new business. Wow. I hope Ellen is sitting there with her stopwatch and being like quite astounded at how quickly we're going through this agenda. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 14th, 2022 at 4:30. And that there being no further business to discuss, the Thursday, February 10th, 2022 meeting of the Tecumseh Police Service Board be adjourned. I'm looking for a mover. Oh, wait, I see a wave. Yes, Margaret, please.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just before we do that, I wonder if it would be appropriate to have a motion to the mayor's suggestion with respect to the letter, so that that authorizes the chair to prepare that if we could.
Okay, so we're saying that was not sent. All right.
Well, I believe it was a suggestion, Mr. Chair, but for the purposes of the minutes, I think a motion would be in order.
I think that's quite good. Moved by Mayor McNamara, seconded by Paul Sweet. All in favor? Passed. Thank you very much. Thank you, Margaret. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Okay, so we'll go back to our motion to adjourn. I'm looking, and I think we had, I think we had mover and seconder. So all in favor of adjournment? Thank you very much. Margaret, write that time down, and Ellen, write that time down. We won't do this again, I don't think. Okay, thank you, everybody.